What's up, hockey players? Welcome back to Francis Hockey Academy. My name's Coach Joey, and today we're going to talk about the D zone and more specifically what it means to collapse on the weak side. So there's four components that we want to address when we're setting up our D zone and practicing it. Our first component is creating a strong side perimeter along our dot lines. So the puck's in the corner with two red forwards on it. We'll have D1 pressuring right away aggressively, with our center supporting, ready to help in the battle or jump on loose pucks wherever they shoot out. But our center is going to be lined up right off that dot line on the strong side. And typically he'll be taking a more defensive, position. So being on the right side of the puck, keeping the body between the attackers and the puck and our net. So there's our center. Our weak side, or our strong side winger, is going to be right here inside our dot lanes, right around the top of the circle, lending a stick towards the middle of the ice there. Okay, so that's where we're going to set up our initial perimeter. Now, real quick, one thing I see from our strong side wingers a lot, especially on my team, is we have the tendency to want to be, watching the play from right here on the wall. And this is a very ineffective position for a few reasons. Number one, if that puck squirts out, you're already right there being covered by the D, so you can't really use your feet to find open areas of ice to become an effective breakout option if the puck does shoot up the weak side, or the strong side, so you can't get any movement or speed into space to create plays. And two, if their D is smart and sees that you're holding the wall, if red wins this puck battle, this D is going to jump down into the middle and cut into an effective scoring area. So as the strong side winger, it's crucial that we occupy the strong side off the dot line, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to keep the play in your field of vision. It's going to allow you to see your strong side D, and then you can shift your position relative to where this D is moving, but then it's going to allow you to become a breakout option, moving your feet into space so that way we can get the puck out of our zone. Our second component is we got to have our weak side collapse. And so when we talk about collapsing onto the weak side, it basically means we want to congest this area as much as possible. So our strong side D is going to be, or our weak side D, is going to be playing on the right side of the puck. So body between the puck and the net, and then body between any attacker and the net. And then our weak side winger is going to be, supporting that D, okay? So what we have now is we have our weak side collapse, and it's extremely important that we congest the high slot, meaning our D2 and our weak side winger, they're congesting our low slot and somewhat of our high slot as much as possible with active sticks to take away any passes to the weak side, but also prevent any of the attacking players from driving inside the house to create any scoring chances, okay? So our third component is when we have this structure, we're going to have layers to our D zone coverage. So our D1 is our layer number one. Our center and our strong side winger create our second layer. And then our weak side D and our weak side winger create our third layer of defense. So if our D1 gets beat, we still have our center and our strong side wing there, and they can easily collapse on the house. If those two guys get beat, we have our weak side winger and our weak side D already there in the house. So we're going to effectively make the attackers beat 3 layers. And then we have our goalie. So we have 4 layers of defense to prevent any scoring opportunities. And what I really like about this structure is if a layer gets beat and they kick it out to their D, our wingers can shoot out to their D quickly. Okay, and that leads me to my fourth point is all 5 players need to communicate and have their heads on a swivel. Right, so our strong side winger has head on a swivel, watching this D, watching the play, watching the house, right? So boom, watching the D, watching the play, watching the house. Weak side wingers watching their D, watching the play, watching the house, right? Weak side D, watching the play, watching in front, watching behind. Okay, so it's really quite simple. We can allow positioning, effective positioning, to conserve energy to make sure we're not running around all over the place. But now we have bodies and shooting lanes and sticks and passing lanes. And then when we do win the puck, we're now in a very effective position to get ready for our breakout and become options using our feet to get into space and try to catch them on a counterattack. And then one additional note is wingers, you are responsible for the D. So if the Ds, slide across the blue, pinch in a little bit, try to go back door, wingers, it's on you to close that gap and shift your positioning relative to where that D moves, or even go with that D to ensure that we can't get beat on the weak side or anywhere else on the ice. So I hope you found this portion helpful. We're going to jump into some live gameplay where I break down what effective D-zone coverage using a collapse looks like. All right, hockey players, so we're going to break down a defensive zone coverage clip from the Red Wings-Boston game this past weekend. Let's jump right into it. So starting here with Boston's entry, the Wings do a good job of getting 3 across the blue. And what this does is going to force Boston to pick a side to enter, and we limit them to a fairly soft scoring chance, nothing that our goalie can't handle. So right away, that puck's going to end up behind the goal line with a battle, and the Wings do a very good job of getting numbers in and around the net. I would like to see our 2 wingers collapse inward just a touch more, and one thing you'll notice is they're both heavily puck watching. Even our center is a little bit too. So they definitely need to get their heads a bit more on a swivel. But overall, they're doing a good job of collapsing right here on the house. And what that's going to do is prevent scoring opportunity. And, we talk about our strong side perimeter as that puck rims around. Okay, that puck's going to rim around here. We have our three across on the strong side perimeter, and we're inside the dot line on the strong side of the puck. And then as that puck moves up to their D, I think that's Fabry, he's able to get out to his point right away. It gets out to the point, and that limits their point to just wrapping it right back in, right? It doesn't give the point any opportunity to walk the blue line or get a shot. And as that puck comes right back through, okay, let's do a numbers count. So we have 1 Red Wing right here. I believe that's Pastrnak, right? We got a wing there. We obviously have Fabry up here on his D. We have our other, winger, weak side winger over there by their D. And then our 2 defensemen down low have their guys. So structuring themselves effectively from the start there allows them to transition to a man-on-man D, because what Boston likes to do is like to get the puck up high and get 3 players up top to then work it back down low and then try to move the puck back across the seam to the weak side or into the high slot. And the Wings do a good job of covering up high here. But more importantly, because they're covering this area really well, the puck gets to the slot, and we take away that scoring area. Okay, so as we collapse again, right, Fabry's right here in the house. Okay, so he's right where he needs to be. And our numbers looking pretty good. And the big thing I want to point out here, that is definitely not what I wanted to do. There we go. What I want to point out here is we have all 5 Red Wings, for the most part, below the puck on the right side of the puck here, D side. And we have just about every single Bruins player, covered or in our field of vision to an extent. So if we freeze it here, now Fabry could probably be just a little bit deeper on the other side of Charlie Coyle here, or if not even, down a little bit more. But for the most part, the Wings have very good structure. We have our perimeter. Let's use blue here. We have our perimeter on the strong side. And more importantly, we have layers, right? We have our initial layer here. We have our second layer, third layer. Again, Fabry could be a little bit lower to extend that layer. But for the most part, they have a pretty good structure. And we win that battle, the Wings win that battle. And we talk about letting our positioning, A, allow us to defend better, and then B, put us in positions to move our feet to get open on the breakout. Okay, we have 3 Boston players on the strong side. They have their strong side D on the wall, and then their weak side D's, kind of cheating over a little bit more. And that's going to open up so much time and space for our weak side D to become an option for Fabry to get into a swing position. That's exactly what happens. Goes D to D, we stretch it up. A little bit of a messy breakout, but the Wings break the puck out nonetheless, and they get it deep. So very effective D-zone coverage, albeit heads could be on a little bit more of a swivel and they could collapse a little bit more. But that's a great example of effective D-zone positioning.